So today we're going to be talking about pop art, and pop art is art that's made from things in popular culture. Now, it could be things like celebrities and things like that, because sometimes those kinds of things become art, or it could be kind of regular things. So sometimes you might see things like, I know you learned in first grade about Andy Warhol, and he was the one who made the Campbell soup cans art. And his idea was that there were like artisans and there were artists. And so artisans were ones who like designed things. So they designed a label for a can of soup. Now, it's different than some of the things that artists of his time did. Like they would do more of, fancy portraits, or a vase of big flowers, or a bowl of fruit. Like those are the things you hang in your living room, right? Not a Campbell soup can. But his idea was that someone designed that, so it is most definitely art. And a lot of people did not agree with that at the time, but he really, really fought for that idea. And so he did things like he named his art studio The Factory, because he thought that it was important. And so he did something called printmaking, and then you would make a print, which is like a stamp, and you would stamp the same art over and over and over, which is like when we see this Campbell soup cans. And so he made us really stop and think about, well, what really is art? Because it can mean different things to different people. So some people loved that and some people hated it. And that's kind of how it is with art anyway. And so the thing I'd like you to think about with that is that if you have an idea, even if it's not popular, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea, right? And so that's something that artists do like all the time, is to think about, like, what is it that makes art? And just because it's an art that you don't enjoy doesn't mean someone else doesn't enjoy it, right? And so that's kind of the thing that pop art kind of took over, is like, you know what? Regular stuff could be art, because who are we to say what art is? If we're creating it, it's art, right? And so we're going to explore that a little bit today, and we're going to do some pop art in the style of Andy Warhol. And our subject that we are going to make is Among Us characters, because that is something in our popular culture today. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of art from Andy Warhol, and then we will get to the project. Today you will need a piece of paper, a pencil, and I would prefer crayon. However, if you've got colored pencils, that would work. Markers are not the greatest choice today, although you could make it work if that's all you've got. You could also do it with just pencil as well. But paper and pencil, and then something to color with, preferably crayons or colored pencils. All right. Okay, so we're going to take our paper today, and we're going to be folding it in half like a card. So you want to try to line up your corners and edges. When you get them kind of lined up, hold that down, scoosh across. That kind of gets it settled for you, and then you can go up and down like so. I'm going to move this out for now. And then we are going to take that whole thing and we're going to fold it in half again, like the hot dog way, so it'll be long and tall. And we're going to aim that toward the edges and scoosh that side down so that you've got a long rectangle. And then we're going to take that rectangle and we're going to fold that in half. And then once you have that smaller rectangle, we're going to open the whole thing up. And you will have something that looks like this. You may have to kind of wiggle it to get it to lay a little bit flat, but that's okay if it doesn't, because we only need one square at a time. I'm going to put this back under here so we can draw a little easier. Now, you are going to need a pencil today, and we are going to make one Among Us character in each of these boxes today. And so what the process is for that is we're going to leave a little space on this edge where a backpack will go. And so we're going to start a little bit away from the side here. We're going to go up, over, and all the way to the folded part, and then go down. So we've got kind of a tall rainbow shape. And then at the bottom here, we're going to find a space to make a smaller rainbow for the legs. And then we're going to repeat that shape in each box. So we move a little over from the edge. All the way down. Find the middle. And remember that you can stop or pause or rewind this video whenever you need to. All the way down, loop in the middle, connect, all the way up. Oops, I'm going to try that piece again there. Curve him a little more. There we go. All the way to the edge. And then I'll do my bottom row. Notice I have left a little space above the heads in mine so that you can get creative with the hats for your characters later. And then once we have that, we've got the main part of our body is ready to go. Now we need to add a few things. So on these sides over here, we are going to add sort of a rounded rectangle. That will be the backpack for each character. And then we need their, I don't even know what you call that, their little goggles part. And so we will add a kind of an oval shape onto each one. And you may be getting the feeling now, like Andy Warhol's art, that we're a little like a factory here, right? We're working on the same thing kind of over and over and over. And we're trying to get it similar in the look. And so some people did not consider that to be art. But we know that when we're creating things, it is art. And so some people may not like it, and that's okay. We can all have different opinions. But it is art, actually, because we are creating it, right? All right, now once you have that, we are going to do a little bit of shading today. So you're going to need your crayons for this one, or colored pencils would work as well. And you can do this a couple different ways. So one way that you could do this, I'm going to start with red for mine, is that we could color in the character lightly. And the backpack is the same color. Try to get that as even as I can, like so. And that's okay. But we are also going to add the shading, like I said. So we are going to add, they have kind of an odd kind of lighting in the game. And so they end up with kind of almost like a spotlight on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw almost like an oval here. Like so. And a little one on the edge of the backpack here. And what we're going to do is in this part, we're going to make that darker. So I'm using my same crayon. I'm just pressing harder to make the color darker. Same on the backpack. So it looks like that's a little bit lighter here and a lighter here. And then for the little goggles part, you could do a gray, you could do a blue. It's kind of whatever you like. But what we're going to do, I'm going to do a light blue for mine. We're going to make a small oval and a bigger oval. So I've got kind of 3 spaces here. Now this outside spot, I'm going to darken up a little bit here. That one's going to be the darkest. And then the in-between one is just pressing lightly. And the final one is going to stay white. Now I'm going to kind of outline it all together, kind of show that up. So that's one way when you use just one crayon. Another way you could do it is a similar idea, but to use 2 different crayons. So you could use a lighter green and a darker green, for instance. So I could make the same sort of oval on my character here and the little light part here. Fill that in. One thing I've noticed is that I do this way better when I'm actually with you guys and not doing this and looking at the camera. I tend to go out of the lines a lot more. Then I will take my dark green and fill in the rest. And it will give you a similar look, but you just don't have to press as hard for your dark part. So you can kind of choose, or maybe it'll choose for you depending on what you've got for crayons or markers or whatever you're coloring with today. Markers can be a little harder because you can't press lightly or darkly on them, so you'd have to have a larger set of markers to be able to do some lights and darks. And then I would do the goggle area the same way. All right, so I finished up my coloring, and I did do one thing, and it would depend on if you wanted to do this or not, but I used a different blue on my cool colored characters than I did on my warm color characters. I just liked the darker blue on those better, and so that is completely up to you. If you want to switch it up a little bit, you can. And then I did one thing on my yellow because I didn't have, you know, it's hard to see the light and the dark yellow, so what I did was made a really dark yellow on here, which ends up looking brighter than the light yellow that I did here with some gray mixed in. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. So there's an option for you if you like that better. And then once you have your characters done, you'll notice we left a little space at the top. So if you would like to go and do some of the hats that they have, you could do that as well. So I will be back with those in a moment. All right, so I have finished my hats. I've got a little doctor, I don't even know what those things are called, little doctor hat thing, a regular snow hat, a halo, a banana, a balloon, a crown, an egg, and a plant. there are a whole bunch of others, and I saw that there's a whole new Christmas pack, so you could have a snowman on your head or something if you'd like, or you could invent your own. But there we have it, folks. We have some pop art. Same way as we talked about with Andy Warhol. We reproduce one thing over and over and over. But I think it looks really awesome, and I think that you guys, I know will love it because you like Among Us already, but it's just kind of a fun way to do it. So if you have a favorite thing that's not necessarily Among Us, like unicorns or something else, you could do the same thing and have a really cool piece of art with something that you really like. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in person soon. Bye.